Nancy with girlsinthestacks.com, and I am here today with Jenna Blum.
Hi.
She wrote The Storm Chasers, which is an awesome novel, and if you haven't read it, you need to go buy it and read it right now.
Totally agree.
Oops,
That's just the agenda.
losing my papers. But we are here at the TESSA conference in Colleyville, which is Texas Severe Storms Association, and I had to look at that and make sure I got it right.
You did good.
Thank you. But we are here or Jenna's here actually, because she's speaking to them about her storm chasing in her research for this novel. So that brings me to asking you, which came first, the novel or the storm chasing?
The chicken or the egg?
Yes.
The love of storms came first.
Yeah.
And then the storm chasing really came before the novel. Because I had to do my research before I wrote the novel. I'm not a sort of Mad Libs writer who can write the story but with big blanks where the research is and then a sort of note to self fill this in later.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of have to live what the characters are doing and then turn it inside out into the book, and then hopefully people are enjoying the research and learning something kind of by osmosis, but they're really being blown away by the story.
I was blown away. I loved it.
Thank you so much.
Did you have to do research on the mentally ill schizophrenia
I did.
type
I mean,
thing?
I should say that I will give my Reader's Digest condensed pitch about what the book is.
Sure.
That's probably useful,
Sure.
maybe, for those of you who have not read The Storm Chasers yet and have your homework to do. The Storm Chasers is about a pair of twins, boy-girl twins, and the brother is bipolar and the sister's not. And the brother, Charles, likes to chase storms when he's manic with really terrible consequences, as you would imagine. And so the book is really about his bipolar disorder and about his sister trying to keep him safe and what it's like for people who have bipolar disorder and then what it's like for the people who love them and the sort of collateral damage from that.
Mm-hmm.
And it seemed to me sort of a natural fit between the storm chasing and the bipolarity, because storms are kind of like bipolar severe moods. They appear to come out of nowhere, they cause terrible devastation sometimes, and they disappear again, and you never know when they're going to come back.
Mm-hmm.
So that was how I linked those two things together. The bipolar disorder, which to me is really the engine of the book and the heart of the book, was a very personal thing for me, not because I am bipolar, but I have it in my family.
Mm-hmm.
And so all of my research for that was based on personal experience and then reading everything I could find about bipolar disorder so I could try and understand it for myself first and then for my readers.
Oh, very nice. Wow.
Thank you.
Well, it was a really good book, and I have to say that being a Kansas girl myself, I kind of grew up around all that stuff, like Tornado Alley type of stuff. So it was really interesting to me. That's why I first jumped on this book. I thought, I have got to read it, because I'm a storm chaser kind of a person too. So now you're going to go out. You've been going out for a while. You said 5 years with the storm chaser, the tour people.
Yep, that's right. There's a tour company out of Arlington, Texas, which is really close to here, called Tempest Tours. And I've been going out with Tempest for the last 5 years, following them in my own vehicle as their media consort, which basically means I get to poach on their experience and their radar, and then I write something about them, like an article or a book, for instance.
Good free research.
Yeah, exactly. So I have been chasing behind them for 5 years, and this is my 6th year, and I've got the bug pretty bad.
Yeah.
I mean, it's really a learning curve thing as much as any adrenaline or just seeing the beauty of the storms or, trying to master your fear of looking at them, which I'm sure as a Kansan you know. But I love to learn about what makes them tick, too, and after 6 years, I'm just starting to get a foothold on that. So.
And you have a companion that rides with you.
I do. I have Woodrow the Storm Chasing Lab. My black lab goes
Which I thought was so cute.
in my
because
Jeep with me.
What'd you say about him? He gets a steak if they see a tornado?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Traditionally, chasers, if you see a tornado, you get a steak afterwards. And so Woodrow, who's like the tornado magnet, and every time he's in the car with me, I see one, he always gets a steak. Which to
Lucky
him
dog.
is the only thing that redeems the experience, which he finds otherwise quite tedious.
Aw.
Yeah.
Poor puppy.
Yeah.
Yeah, he doesn't get to go running around. Like
He
you
wouldn't
said.
know. I don't get to throw
Don't
a
get to
frisbee
chase
for
the-
him. It would go like up into the updraft. That would really traumatize him, probably.
Instead of flying cows, there'd be flying dogs.
Frizz, lab, another frizz, another lab. Yeah, he has his own Facebook page too, Woodrow. I think sometimes he has more fans than I do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Not at all.
Check him out.
All right. Well, and so I hear that you are on the Oprah list. What was that like when you found out that you're on the list for the top 30 writers that
Oh gosh. Really, like all good things that come from my books, it was a total surprise. I mean, basically, I write in the Writers Protection Program in total seclusion because I love my characters and their stories, and then I hope people read them when I'm done, so that they know the characters and love the stories also. So when any other good thing happens, like my first book jumped onto the New York Times list, a total shock, which I found out because my publisher sent me a PDF of the list, and I was like, who is playing this nasty trick on me, And then it wasn't. The Oprah thing was the same way. Somebody actually on Twitter, which is how we all met on Twitter, the power of social media is a great thing. It's moving the world. But anyway, somebody sent me a tweet on Twitter saying, have you seen this? And they attached a link for the Oprah's list of top 30 women writers, and I clicked on it again thinking, who's playing this joke on me? And then I was just in the most fantastic company. It was like Toni Morrison and Anne Patchett and Ann Tyler, all these people who I worship, basically. And so I did what I do when I get really good news. I started shaking and crying. I called my mom. I called my agent while I was shaking and crying, and they were really happy. My agent, who's French, had this new, voice for me, even deeper than her regular sort of purr. She was just like, oh, this is such good news. So when I hear that special agent voice, I know that it's true, whatever I'm bringing to her. So
there you go.
It was very exciting, and it was a reader made decision who was on that list, and I was totally honored by that because I think that's how books should be made and chosen, is by the readers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
And we love to read, and that's why we choose great authors too.
Oh, thank you. We love the Girls in the Stacks.
Thank you. What books are you reading right now?
I'm reading galleys right now. I'm
Are
lucky
ya?
enough to have my publisher send me galleys of stuff that is about to be published. One of my favorite books ever is coming out April 12th. And you probably see me tweeting about this chick all the time. Her name is Rebecca Rasmussen, and her book is called The Bird Sisters. And it's a great debut novel. It's like the real deal. A lot of times you're reading and you just think, oh, just please tell me a good story. But her writing was also so delightful that it was refreshing because I could set aside my sort of critical facilities and just read it for the pleasure of reading. So that was great. So look for that, The Bird Sisters, April 12th. And on the other end of the spectrum, I'm listening to a lot of audio because I drive a lot to different Storm Chasers
And chasing
functions.
storms and things.
Between
yeah.
Chasing Storms and then promoting the Storm Chasers, which is out paperback April 26th. So I'm sort of on this junket from Minnesota, Kansas, Texas, Florida, Minnesota, Boston, and then back out to
You're
Chase.
not driving all this, are you? Though?
Most of it, yeah.
Really?
Because I want to bring Woodrow with me, the dog.
Oh,
So
yeah.
I drive a lot, and so I'm listening on audio to The Hunger Games, which is like children's books.
We love the Hunger Games.
Honestly,
Yes.
it was recommended to me by a grade school teacher in Caledonia, Minnesota, which is where I have a house, because it's where my mom and grandma grew up.
Mm-hmm.
And I went to speak at the high school, and the woman who bought me, Mrs. Zard, she was like, you have to read The Hunger Games. They're so good. And I know I ordered them for the kids, but they were totally addictive. And I'm like, yeah, whatever, Mrs. Zard, okay. Mrs. Zard is a drug pusher because I started listening to the first Hunger Games on audio, and by the time I got to the end of the book, I was driving around in rural Minnesota on the ice and the snow because I couldn't get out of the car before it was done. Like I was totally addicted.
Oh my gosh, yes.
Yeah, they're
It
great.
is-
It's a great series.
It's an awesome series. And so I was also going to ask you too earlier. Now, your first book was a standalone. Storm Chasers is a standalone. Do you see any sequels in the future, or is it sort of like a?
I'm not really tempted by sequels. I mean,
Yeah.
to me, a story is a window into a world looking at a specific situation. And like a short story is usually looking at a point in a person's life where he or she's making a decision that will really affect his or her life a certain way, although they don't know it. But you are privileged to look in, through the viewfinder at that certain moment.
Mm-hmm.
And a novel is just a longer look at a given situation in somebody's life. So, for instance, in The Storm Chasers, it's told from the point of view of the sister in the novel, the sister of the twins, Karina, who's always trying to put her arms around her brother and his disorder. Once the two of them have really come to terms with some of the incidents that his disorder has caused, and then they've discussed it for the first time in their lives, I think, okay, well, you know what, that part of their story is over, so I'm going to pull the curtain and let them have some privacy so they can get on with their lives. And if I wrote more about my characters, which I sometimes have tried because I miss them so badly when I let them go, it turns into caricature, and I don't really want to do that to them because they're real people. So,
Well, and I admire that because there are a lot of people who just write their novel that's supposed to be a standalone, and then get coerced into keeping on writing more things about it. And then, I mean, there are times when I'm just like, I'm done. This is great. This is the perfect ending. Don't write anymore, you know?
Yeah.
So-
I think I kind of want to leave readers wondering a little bit, like what happens to these people, because that's what real life is like. And fiction is supposed to at least refract real life if through the prism of a situation that's make-believe. But it's supposed to teach you something about real life through this fictional situation. And if you tied everything up really neatly, or if you know, just, I mean, I'm talking about literary fiction pretty much, but I kind of want to leave some things unexplored because I think that the human condition is mysterious that way, and so good fiction should reflect that a little bit.
So what are you working on now?
I'm working on promoting the Storm Chasers. I really am. I'm wearing like my promotion hat right now.
I dig the hat.
Thank
I dig
you.
the boots,
From
the hat.
Hatman Jacks, Wichita, Kansas, and then
That's where
these
I'm
are these boots. I just will show you my boots.
Which I love the turquoise stitching.
Thank you. They were
Very
a gift
sexy.
to me last year before the Storm Chasers hardcover tour from some lovely ladies in Kansas City, and I've been wearing them ever since. They're real comfy and make me look taller, which is good.
That's a good thing all the time.
It is. It's always good. But what am I working on? When I'm done with this, I'm going to go to my house in Minnesota and plant a garden and putter and blog about what it's like to be an urban girl living in a little house in Minnesota. But also I'll be writing short stories to work my way into the next book. And I do have an idea for it that I can't talk about.
Darn. Okay.
It will have the same town in it that my first two books have, New Heidelberg, which is
Okay.
a fictionalized version of my Minnesota town.
A little continuity.
Yeah, you know, if it's not a sequel with the characters, the town itself is kind of a character and carries over from book to book. I really love it when authors do that. And the town itself shifts its character based on who's perceiving it. So hopefully that's fun for readers.
It is. It is. Well, thank you so much for
No,
talking
thank
with
you.
us. And with that, we will see you in the stacks. Wait. All right.
Oh.